Is it raining? Where's it coming from? Where's the rain?
That's when you know it's good, right, Katie Bell?
When a baby looks to see if it's raining outside.
Oh, it's gonna get crazy, Katie Bell.
Get ready.
All right, so here's all of the acoustic treatments for the home theater. Doing it in my normal style. So we got bass traps, corner soffits, all kinds of stuff, scatter plates. So I'll take you through all this stuff as we unbox it. All right, so these are the corner soffit bass traps. Pretty sturdy. So these are going to go in the back corners of the room, and they're boxed like so. Pretty simple. So here's where they're going to go. If you look at it in comparison to the room, this is the back corners, which are problematic acoustically. So you'll notice we have the baseboard in the way, but so I'll decide here in a minute whether we're going to notch that out and mount it directly to the wall, or if that's acceptable. Number 2 installed, just sitting on top of one another. I'll probably just leave them like this. They're going to be behind the couch anyway, so I might just leave the gap. I got one more to go on the top. So here's the small one. The only thing that stinks is the small ones cost as much as the big ones, because they have to custom make this sizing.
The color, or?
Yeah, I wanted some black to break up the room.
Right.
All these panels aren't black. So this is a bass trap soffit. 17 by 17, goes from floor to ceiling. Alright, so here's our rear soffit bass traps. Pretty cool. I'm the only person I know that has rear soffit bass traps. The only one who's crazy enough to do this.
What are these things?
These are,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta tuck that one in up there. These are the front wall 244, so these are full range without scatter plates. Alright, so here's a look at this is a monster bass trap from GIK Acoustics in gray. This is a standard color gray, which goes well with my room. I didn't want to do all black. So these are the rear bass traps. But what I wanted to do in order to make the room sound somewhat, to not completely kill the room and make it super boring, I added, so these have a scatter plate option. So in here, it won't completely absorb the high frequencies. It'll shoot. It'll sort of scatter them and make sure that the room isn't completely dead. Here's what they look like in the back. I'm not an acoustic expert, but I know enough to be dangerous. Here's the back. And these are, I think, 7.5 inches wide. So they're 24 by 48.5. And then in the front, mainly because of the door, I didn't have room with the door frame or the window frame. These are these are 242 bass traps with no scatter plate option. And I may add more of these to the front wall. We'll kind of see how the room sounds. I doubt I'll need any more than what I got in here. But I'm going to have 4 of these on the front wall, and then 4 of these monster bass traps with the scatter plate on the back wall. So these are the pedestals for the first reflection panels. Oh, it's going to go somewhere in this vicinity, like so. And look. Alright, so we've come to the conclusion it makes sense that the feet are staggered a little bit. You know, one faces a little further to the back, one faces a little further to the front to keep the acoustic paneling standing upright. So again, this is another 242. So I had to get 3 that weren't wall mounted because there's no wall there. There's a window. All right, so we got number 1 installed. 27 to go. I think it looks really good. I'm telling you, I've got like an innate interior design ability. Right, Shelly? Somehow I got Shelly cleaning your windows because Grandma said that they need to be dialed. So we got all the windows in the house clean. What's the system you got going here? You clean it with that and then you follow with the microfiber?
Yep. Dawn and then microfiber.
So you got 2 mounted.
57 and a quarter. These are 2 foot, that's 48.
Getting drama like Kate, huh?
Alright, so all of these things hang just like a picture frame. We put wire through it. We measure from the bottom. And then we're coming off the baseboard so that we all have them at the same height. Looks pretty cool. You know, breaking a cardinal sin in that we got a ceiling fan in the home theater, but I don't care. One of my most hated things in this world are hanging pictures, and we're hanging 20 of them.
Guess what?
What?
Dude,
Shoot.
we hung this one upside down. We hung them all upside down.
Well, that's why we're just going to take those off. I mean, I don't think it really matters.
Probably just stuck them in it. Yeah, here we go. You want them?
Nope.
Good.
I don't want them anyway. Yeah, take that crap off.
Good.
Alright, so since I can't get a soffit in the corner, I'm mounting the 252 or whatever, 240, I've already forgotten, 242 bass traps, mounting those in the corners. So I'm going to do the same thing over on this side of the room. So this isn't particularly rocket science. We're just picking, you know, height coming off the baseboard, and then, you know, pick our center mark and then come off equidistant left to right. So I have two hooks just going right into the drywall, and then mounting and leveling. So I'm doing a 2-inch gap between the two panels. And then we've just learned to sort of set our height on the wire. By the time we get to the last one, we'll have it licked.
Why can't you figure it out?
Huh? Because we got these special hangers over there. There's no instructions. It says go online. The instructions say go online. That's
That looks good, Matt.
You got the nails.
Kate, who's that little doll you got?
Just hit the freaking thing. There's just not much slack to get my freaking arm in there.
Want me to try?
Punch my fist through the wall. You. God, I just want to kick my foot through the wall. Stop filming me.
Don't worry, Daddy to the rescue. He's got you. Crap. We'll get it. Oh crap, we're on the camera. We're on the mirror.
Alright, rule is when you do these things, you leave more slack.
Crooked.
Grandpa's amazing.
Tell Grandpa it's crooked.
If only I would have had that on video. Oh shoot, I started to zoom. Never zoom in.
Grandpa's
Alright, so I've got all the acoustic treatments done. So I'll take you into the room here. Couch isn't here yet. Should be here in a couple of weeks. Switches over here. Right around the same time the couch will be here, I should have the window treatments. And I'm doing the Lutron Casita system, so I'll have lighting control and in here. And then the fan, I'm not really worried about having control. So, well, I guess we can sort of start at the front of the room. Or I guess this is the back. I'll sort of pan across here for you. I always forget to slow down when I'm panning. And so, acoustically speaking, it'd be best to do some sort of soffit bass trap, kind of like I have in the rear over here. But obviously, I don't have 17 inches of room or space to fit behind the door. The other thing I was going to do was the monster version of the bass trap. So, GIK Acoustics has, I think it's GIK. I don't think it's GIK. Notice the depth of the acoustic treatments. So they have 3 different depths. They have a traditional acoustic treatment, or their bass treatment, and then these are the monster, or these are the 242s, and then you have the monster bass traps, which are the full 7.5 inches of depth. So they have I think it's either 3 or 4 inch version, which I didn't do any of. We have the 242s, which are roughly 5.25 inches deep, which gives me enough depth to be able to open the door and not hit. And so the other sort of reason why I didn't care to try to squeeze a monster or the bigger, thicker ones is because these side standalone units, the 240, these are also 242, self-standing versions, I wanted them to sort of match. So the front and side walls match in size. They're a little warped looking. If you saw the earlier part of the video, I mounted them all upside down accidentally, and again, I don't think it really matters. But they have sort of a warped look to them because they're softer foam. Down here, they're like a half sort of circle, and then it's a reverse half circle on the top. So maybe they would look better if I mounted them upright. See, this one I did mount correctly, but it still has a little bit of a warped look to it, where the bigger, more expensive monster bass traps don't have that issue. So both corners, I wanted to deaden that. The room sounds great, once I get the couch in here, once I get the window treatments, it's going to sound incredible. I mean, it already sounds pretty darn great. And I'll do a follow-up video with the products here soon. So we have the 242s on the front, the 242 on the sides, and you'll notice in the video I have a mirror sort of in the room. This is in order to get sort of first reflection points. So if I go over here and I sit down in my seat, in my main listening position, centered up in the room, over on the side here, the front speaker will have sort of there will be reflection, so the first point of reflection will bounce off the wall, and then the sound will come back to my ear. So the general principle here is that I don't want anything bouncing off the back wall, so I want that to be dead. So I want it to catch any sort of any reflective frequencies there. Then I want it to catch completely the first reflection point, and then there's a second reflection point, which is off of the left speaker. The left and center, or the left speaker will come, the sound will bounce and then come back. So basically when I'm sitting here, I want sound to come from the center and the fronts, I want that to come directly to my ear, but I don't want that reflection, that first reflection that comes later, you know, because there's a delay. So then that interferes with the next note or the next sort of wave that comes to me. And so we have the corners dead. Theoretically, you would want the entire front wall dead. I just didn't want to go that far. You know, every you know, there's sort of diminishing returns. So I've got the corners dialed, and then I have my first and second reflection points. So again, I use the mirror and I sort of drag it along the wall, and I look for when can I see the speaker. And so when I'm dragging the mirror across the wall, my first reflection point is there. The second reflection point is here. And because of the windows, I had to use the sort of the floor standing version. The other thing you'll notice, which I didn't show in the earlier part of the video, is I have a cloud. So I've done the cloud overhead. Theoretically, this would probably be better right exactly where the fan is, but I don't care. I love fans when I'm laying on my couch. I get sweaty, so I wanna be able to walk in, turn the fan on when I do and don't want it. Of course, we talked a lot about the bass, the soffit bass traps, and then the monster panels on the back wall. These are very different than the ones in the front because they have a scatter plate. You know, it's basically like a wooden plate in here that catches and then sort of deflects or diffuses high frequencies. I wanted to make sure that the room wasn't so dead that it just didn't have any life. So in working with GIK Acoustics, by the way, you can just call them and they'll help you think through, you know, what needs to be in the room. So me and my designer, I sent him room dimensions and everything, and we sort of decided this was going to be a nice sort of happy medium in looks, function, and sort of sound quality. The room sounds incredibly different. Notice the cloud on the ceiling is actually spaced off of the ceiling, so they sell specific brackets where I have these are 242, so the same as the front and sides that are mounted slightly off the ceiling. My GIK rep sort of suggested that, I hope it's not GIK, it might be GIK. I need to look that up. I hate it when people use the wrong name of companies. But you know, the cloud, he suggested, look, the monster isn't going to make that much of a difference. So we have the cloud, which catches a lot of echo. So we've gotten rid of the echo that we had. So the room is nice and sort of clean sounding. So anyway, this is the my GIK or GIK Acoustics, one or the other. I'm gonna have to look up what it's called and correct myself. Have sort of the room treated and ready for couch. Can't wait to get rid of this goofy couch. I'm gonna do some sort of probably do a Nest or something, thermostat. In fact, I'm gonna turn this up. I forgot to. You know, I'm not in here 24/7. And like I said, we'll go through the actual sort of devices in the room here. I'll go through that as I tune it. I'm getting an ISF calibrated next week, so the TV will be calibrated. Subwoofer should be here tomorrow or the next day. It's coming FedEx freight, so I'll get rid of the Velodyne. Again, that's going in the garage. Window treatments and couch will be here probably in 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then this room will be completely done. Super pleased with how it turned out. The only thing that I'm a little disappointed in is I did these sort of J-box mounted LEDs, and they're just, I really don't like, these are what, 3200 Kelvin. I would prefer something closer to like 3800. It's just a little bit yellow in here, which turns the gray sort of yellowish, but it does make it a little softer and makes it more sort of candle-like. And of course we'll have dimming capabilities in here as well. Obviously we'll have to do something with my wireless network, which I'm still messing around with. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys.